The big picture. Nearly 30 years after the horrifying anti-Sikh riots which had led to the killings of about 3,000 Sikhs in Delhi following the assassination of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, a special investigations team is sought to be set up to probe the riots. In these last 30 years, 9 commissions and committees have been set up and they have given their reports. Hundreds of cases have been filed, though only 12 cases have been finished and many of the accused in them have been convicted. However, many of the Sikhs still feel that full justice has not been done to them, especially since some of the leading politicians who have been accused of involvement have not been convicted. Responding to this sentiment, the Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi has decided to set up a SIT to probe the cases. The question, however, is whether a fresh probe nearly 30 years after the ghastly riots can bring out any further truth than that which has already been found. Or is this just another pre-election gimmick to gain the sympathy of a community? Also, what has been the result of all those commissions and committees which have gone into the riots so far? We will discuss all this today with people who have experienced and been witnesses and closely followed the aftermath. I have with me Ved Marwa, former Delhi Police Commissioner and also a former governor, who at the time of the riots was an additional commissioner of police and who also led the first commission set up after the riots. H.S. Phoolka, advocate, who has relentlessly pursued the cases all these years and has also written books on it. K.T.S. Tulsi, senior advocate in Supreme Court, who has also followed the trials closely, and Satish Jacob, senior journalist, who at the time of the riots was an eyewitness and reported on it to the BBC. Welcome to all of you. Mr. Phoolka, I would like to come to you first. It is apparently on, I think Mr. Phoolka is still not connected. I will go back to Mr. Marwa. It is 30 years since this has happened. Now a fresh probe into the thing. You think that, as a policeman, I want you to talk purely as a policeman. If you were a Delhi Police Commissioner today, would you have enjoyed conducting this probe?
No, 30 years is a long time, and it is going to be an uphill task to bring the culprits to book. But I think we also can't have the other option that let the guilty go scot-free. So SIT may not be very productive, but it is worth trying. It's worth trying.
No, would it not lead to some kind of a fishing expedition? This is what some people feel, that this is just another fishing expedition after 30 years, only to appease a certain community or get some political benefit out of it.
There is documentary evidence to show that the Delhi police did not go to all the spots where the trouble was maximum, where maximum casualties took place. There was no police. If they were there, they were mute spectators. There is documentary evidence to that effect. So let me complete it.
There was one committee, if I remember, it was Kapoor Mittal committee, which had found 72 policemen who were guilty of connivance or acts of omission and commission. This report came sometime in 1987 or so. Nothing has happened so far. So how the same policemen, the same findings will be there now?
No, I'm talking about the criminal liability.
Okay.
You see, if the police does not do its job where it is supposed to be, then they have to answer. Why didn't they go? Did they go on their own?
Sir,
were they under orders of somebody not to go?
Sir, sorry, sir. I think we have got Phoolka on the line now. I'll come back to you. Mr. Phoolka, apparently this decision of the Delhi government has been on your, one of the letters which you have written. You have been pleading for this again. I was asking Mr. Ved Marwa the same question. I want to ask you this question. What will come out? What do you expect to come out of this probe? There have been 9 commissions and committees of inquiry. They have all found, a lot of findings have been done. The problem has been in prosecution. Do you agree with me?
You see, the Nanavati Commission
Yes.
has said that out of 587 FIRs recorded.
Right.
Yes. Nanavati Commission has said out of 587 FIRs total recorded by the police, 241 were closed by the police itself, never sent for trial. What Nanavati recommended, only 4 cases to be reopened.
Yes.
Those 4 cases were reopened and investigation again started in 2006.
Right.
That was 22 years after these killings. The police continued investigation up to 2009, almost up to 25 years after the incident. The matter goes to court. The evidence in the court is recorded in 2011, 27 years after these killings. Now, out of the 4 cases, in 3 cases, the charge sheet is filed. And out of those 3 cases, only 1 has been decided till now, and that case has resulted in conviction. 27 years after the incident, statements recorded by the victims has resulted in conviction of 5 persons and 1 is acquitted. But if now the other cases are going on, you see the testimony of the victims before the court in that case. Their memory is still so fresh. It is etched in their mind, all those, and they could withstand the strenuous cross-examination of the lawyers of the accused.
So you
now, how are we imagining that 27 years after the incident, the statements recorded can result in conviction? But out of those 241, in the 4, it can result in material, ultimately results.
No, Mr. Phoolka.
But those 237 which still remain will not result into any successful convictions.
Mr. Phoolka, Mr. Phoolka. Mr. Phoolka.
We already have a sample.
Mr. Phoolka, please, I have a question to you. You know, what do you expect the SIT to come out with? Do you want them to reinvestigate the cases because the investigations have been done, the cases have been filed? No, what do you expect the SIT to come out with?
SIT to reinvestigate the cases, like in these 4 cases which were recommended by Nanavati Commission, reinvestigation taken place. And
so
the evidence was collected by the investigating agency.
So you
in these 237 other cases also, we want reinvestigation.
You want reinvestigation of 237 cases. Okay, I'll come back to you, Mr. Tulsi.
37 cases which remains now closed.
Okay, Mr. Tulsi, do you think that there are some people from your own community who feel that this reinvestigation, setting up another SIT, is only trying to revive the tragedy in the minds of the people? Where was the need for it? Already so many cases are going on.
Not only that of course is one factor, but I want to say one thing, and that is that no government can ignore judicial verdicts, and judicial reinvestigation or further investigation can only be ordered by the higher court.
Right.
If the matters have already culminated in either acquittal or conviction, you can't further order reinvestigation by a government order. And I wish Aam Aadmi Party had better knowledge of law. They are only scoring political points. And if they want to prosecute successfully, why did they not make Mr. Phoolka the prosecutor? You see, one case that we had of the CBI where Mr. Sajjan Kumar was charge sheeted on the basis of credible evidence, where there were eyewitnesses who said that he was the one who was inciting the crowds and said, "Khoon ka badla khoon se lenge." And if one of the senior most lawyers from Chandigarh, former Advocate General, Mr. Cheema, was appointed, and he has very competently handled the prosecution. It is actually the role of the prosecutor which is most significant.
Absolutely.
And Aam Aadmi Party itself can appoint prosecutors
So what is
in these cases.
No, Mr. Tulsi.
And Mr.
Tulsi.
Phoolka, who is extremely dedicated to this cause,
Mr. Tulsi.
he can prosecute.
Mr. Tulsi, what are you trying to say? That there is no need for a fresh probe, there is no need for another SIT, a good prosecutor
No,
should
fresh
be able
probe
to...
can't be ordered.
Fresh probe can't be ordered. That's what you
Yes.
think? Okay, Mr. Phoolka, would you like
Can't be
to...
ordered by the government. It can only be done by the courts.
Okay, Mr. Phoolka, would you like to respond to that
Yes.
quickly before I go to Mr. Satish Jacob?
Yes, only 3 cases are left in the trial court now. Only 3 cases pending in the trial court. And in all those 3 cases, special prosecutors are appointed by the High Court. It is appointed by the High Court and they are the competent person who are prosecuting.
No, but if
now
you are...
the other cases are not even sent to the court.
No, but...
And I beg to differ with Mr. Tulsi. The cases which are closed by the police, Mr. Ved Verma is here with you. You can ask him. Those cases the government can order reinvestigation with the permission of the court.
Okay.
No need to go to the higher court.
Okay,
The
okay.
government can direct the further investigation, reinvestigation with the permission of the court.
Okay.
And this is precisely what was done in the 4 cases.
Okay.
In the 4 cases,
Okay,
there
Mr.
was no
Phoolka,
order from the High Court or Supreme Court.
Okay, let me
Nanavati Commission recommended.
Okay, Mr. Phoolka. Mr. Marwa, do you agree with Mr. Phoolka that, government can reorder this
As far as my knowledge of law goes, and I can't match it with Mr. Tulsi or Mr. Phoolka, but what I know is that except those cases which are pending trial in the court, investigation can be reopened at any time. There is no time bar to that.
But the question is whether the higher court should order it?
No.
Or the government can
according to my knowledge of law, it can be ordered by the police, it can be ordered by the government, it can be ordered by anyone. The police itself can set up an SIT if they want to.
Okay, there seems to be a difference of opinion on that. We will keep that aside, Satish. You have been eyewitness to all those things. Do you think that, all these delays which have happened, this 30 years later, we are still talking about reinvestigation and things like that. Who do you think has been responsible for this delay in the cases?
Well, to tell you bluntly,
Yes.
because I saw quite a lot what was happening in those
Right.
days. B.C. Gandhi was assassinated on 31st October 1984, 1st December, 2nd December. For 72 hours, to me it looked there was no government.
1st November and 2nd November. 31st October she was...
Yeah, 1st November and 2nd November.
Right.
For 72 hours. To us reporters who are on the streets, it looked to us as if there was no government in Delhi.
Right.
I was standing once in a corner place. I don't want to bore all of you because it's all in the newspapers.
Right.
And we were watching the police and we were standing near the police and the looters were very calmly, without any hurry, were going up, helping each other to the 1st floor and bringing stuff down, helping each other and guarding it away. And I looked at a policeman, I said, can't you stop it? हिंदी में मैंने बोला आप इनको रोकिए. उसने कहा हमारी ड्यूटी तो सिर्फ यहाँ के गश्त करने की है, ये हमारा काम नहीं. लेकिन ये हुआ. And जिस किस्म की भीड़ थी, the kind of crowds, it looked those people who had rods in their hands, and they looked as if they had come from either some slum areas, and I'm talking about Connaught Place area.
Right.
No, there were criminal elements.
No, what I'm saying is...
There were criminal elements involved also.
No, what I'm saying is that you are saying who is responsible.
Yes.
Who else is responsible? It's the government which is responsible that these people have not been brought to book, and it is a blot on our democracy. That in 30 years,
when you say
we have
government,
not given...
there have been series of governments from 1984. So all governments, would you hold that?
Of course, they are all culpable.
Okay.
I mean, it is a blot on our democracy. There were 30 years, so many people died, innocent people died, and they are crying for justice. And these people are still at large.
Okay, Mr.
Can I make
yes,
a very brief point? The type of cruelty that was displayed by this small group of people is unparalleled in India, and that cannot be committed by an ordinary agitator, a demonstrator. They were criminals The question comes is who mobilized those criminals?
Right.
And how are they openly doing what they are doing? Because they feel they have an assurance that no action will be taken against them.
Many of the reports, I was going through one of the PUCL, PUDR report, it's very graphically gives details about what happened. Mr. Tulsi, now the question is this. The question is that, for all these, there was AP Shah's judgment, order in 2011, Justice AP Shah, when he was the Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court, he wanted all these cases to be wrapped up in 6 months to a year. It was in 2011. Why do you think that or how much do you think the judiciary has been responsible, the delays which has happened in the judiciary has been responsible for this, for what is happening in these cases?
No. Judiciary, firstly, according to the latest charge sheet against Mr. Sajjan Kumar by the CBI,
Right.
the police had kept its eyes shut.
Right.
The police itself was responsible
Right.
for collaborating with these criminals.
Yes.
Protecting them, helping them, inciting them. And therefore, to leave the investigation in the hands of the Delhi police was completely
In fact, some
absurd.
people,
Because they are going to have to save their own colleagues.
no, in fact, some people are having those doubts even now.
That's right. I'm saying that the acquittals that came about was on account of partisan investigation. And after that, the accused also succeeded in delaying the trials because that's the standard technique of the accused. But I want to mention one thing.
But 30
that
years.
according to the statistics available,
Right.
there have been 442 convictions in the Delhi riots cases. 442 convictions. 49 people have been awarded life sentence.
Right.
3 persons have been awarded more than 10 years.
Right.
So it's not that none of the cases but high-profile cases were then referred to Mr.
Right.
Nanavati
Right.
because the community is so frustrated that the leaders who were leading these crowds, no action had been taken, and they had not been punished.
That
And
is the
therefore,
crux of the problem.
Justice Nanavati
That is the crux of the problem.
So Justice Nanavati brought on record the evidence
Yes.
against these leaders and said that adequate steps should be taken.
Okay, Mr.
That's how
Phoolka,
it was
Mr.
taken.
Phoolka, I'll come to you. Satish Jacob wants to intervene. Yes, Satish.
As Mr. K.T. Tulsi has said, the thing is that, today what people are angry about, these are the high-profile, as he's mentioned, the people,
Right.
the main culprits. If they were prosecuted and they were sentenced or punished, I think people would have been satisfied.
That is the
You have pronounced, people guilty who are ordinary people for 10 years, but these are the people who should be behind the bars. If you do
Absolutely.
that,
Yes, Mr.
people will be satisfied with that act.
Mr. Phoolka, yes.
I entirely agree with you.
Yes, Mr. Phoolka, the fact is that in 1990 there was another commission, Jain Agarwal committee actually, which named these 4 leaders, Sajjan Kumar, Jagdish Taitla, and the HKL Bhagat and Dharamdas Shastri, and they wanted cases to be filed against them. One. Second thing is, there has been commissions after commissions after committees, and ultimately the Nanavati Commission, which came up in 2005, as you rightly earlier pointed out. So you think that this, one commission after the commission has also resulted in the delay of prosecuting these cases?
Now 2 things.
Yes.
First, the figures given by Mr. Tulsi are not correct.
Are you trying to say that?
442 people are not convicted. Mr. Tulsi should verify. Number 1. Number 2, in murder cases, 3,000 according to the official figure, about 3,000 people are killed in Delhi alone.
Yes.
And Mr. Tulsi says 49, and the actual figure is 28. Only 28 persons are convicted for those, not 49. Number 2, even if you take it 49, this is also a minuscule figure, hardly anything. Now, second, your answer to your query. Now, you see, Jain Agarwal recommended the registration of the cases. First, police did not register. After that, Madhulal Khana put pressure. Police registered the cases and closed it. Closed those cases itself. Now you see, Mr. Tulsi himself said that when these 4 cases were reopened, reinvestigated, the CBI came to the conclusion that Delhi police is itself an accused in these cases. Now
Yes.
the same thing will happen in these 237 other cases also.
Mr.
We are wanting investigation not by Delhi police, but by
You want
SIT,
SIT,
which will be constituted
Okay.
from outside Delhi police.
Okay,
We
okay.
are not wanting it from Delhi police.
Okay.
And the similar result as in the 4th case, we are expecting in the other 237 cases also.
Okay. Mr. Tulsi, would you like to
I'm
quickly...
sorry, I have lost your audio, I can't hear you.
Okay, Mr. Tulsi, would you like to quickly react before I go to Mr. Marwa?
You see,
He is denying,
I can
Mr.
say
Phoolka
that
is denying
the
that 440 people have
whole
been
community. No, these are the figures which are available in the media and on the net. 42 convicted, 442 convicted, 49 awarded life sentences, 3 have been awarded more than 10 years. Those are the figures. I can't physically verify them myself because I don't have the record. But I want to mention that Mr. Phoolka is, the whole community and the whole society is completely frustrated with the outcome because the leaders of the perpetrators of the most inhuman crimes have not been punished.
Exactly.
And we do hope that
but
the
the
rules
question-
of law and the majesty of law will prevail.
Mr. Marwa,
Yes.
do you think that, see, the focus, as Satish Jacob said and those other two are also saying, the whole focus and the crux of the issue seems to be these leaders who led and whose names had been by certain commissions and things like that, action needs to be taken, it's not been taken. There are cases pending against them. So, this 237 cases, Mr. Phoolka says needs to be reinvestigated. How practical is it to, expect 237 cases to be reinvestigated, and how long do you think it will take?
No, if priorities are set and the job can be done in a professional way, in a reasonable time frame, it is not a difficulty. You see, but the main point we have to understand, in public perception, and there is substance to that, these were organized riots, so-called riots. They were killings done by small groups of people,
Right.
by mobilizing criminals. Now, who's the person who's done it? If there is a nexus between the police and these people who have organized it, then the police officer should be held
How many police officers have been held responsible for this so far?
Well, I am not aware if any senior officer has been held
Has been held.
responsible.
Yes.
Because in 3 districts, at that
Right.
time, in East District, in West District, in South District, they were especially bad. Now, and the records of the police shows.
Some of the names of the senior officers at that time are very much on record.
That's why I don't want to take that,
Right.
because I was appointed the first
were
person
appointed
to
the first
hold the inquiry.
Right.
And given 3 months.
Right.
And I worked day and night to complete the inquiry. And
Were you able to finish
when
that
I was
inquiry?
almost at the fag end of my inquiry, I was given order to stop it. The manner in which one committee, one commission was appointed leaves a very bad taste. The suspicion again grows that there was an attempt to delay the whole thing so that justice is not done. Now that should not be an excuse for not holding an impartial professional SIT.
You see,
Yes.
let me recount for you. At that time, during Mrs. Gandhi was assassinated, the Home Minister was Narasimha Rao.
Yes.
He was, a Home Minister is generally responsible, law and order.
Satish, I want-
One second.
No, Satish, I want to
One
ask you-
second.
Yes.
Narasimha Rao was the Home Minister. Wali was the Home Secretary.
Yes.
Okay. And then Lieutenant Governor was, I don't remember his name, he was there. The police people, as Mr. Maharaj pointed out, they were just puppets. The orders were coming from more powerful people from above. The thing is that nobody has done serious inquiry, who were responsible? Who was giving orders?
No, Mr. Satish, I just want to ask one question. Since you were an eyewitness, since you were following what was happening at that time, there was this situation where the assassination had taken place, the body was lying in state, and then it was supposed to go and the funeral was supposed to be held. How many... One of the excuses or one of the defense of certain people is that, everybody was concentrating on the funeral arrangements and things like that, and these riots were neglected. Was that the case?
In a state like ours, India, we are proud of the thing that we have a systematic government. The government does not collapse if a big thing like this has happened.
Mr. Marwa, what is your opinion on this defense that that the whole thing was the whole thing was concentrated on the funeral arrangements, the thousands of policemen were put on those arrangements, and these things were neglected.
No, this is no defense at all. Delhi police has the resources. If they are short of manpower themselves... You
were in the Delhi police at that time?
No, I was not in the Delhi police at that time. I was a joint secretary in Government of India.
Right.
I was recalled to Delhi police after the riots and asked to do the inquiry. But the point I'm making, Delhi police can call upon paramilitary forces, can call upon the army, which apparently didn't happen in the first 2-3 days.
First 2-3 days. Yes, yeah, Mr. Tulsi, now so you think that the existing cases can be prosecuted with the better prosecutors? You don't think SIT will be able to bring about anything fresh?
I don't think SIT is going to help. It would be much better. We need credible investigation.
Right.
Which will satisfy the people that the real perpetrators and the real leaders have been dealt with in accordance with law.
So you think
that I think that the best course of action would be to have a court-monitored investigation. If the court monitors, if the Supreme Court monitors, at least everybody will have faith in that investigation. The Supreme Court can nominate a police officer of great repute, like Mr. Marwa, and thereafter we need to have a closure. For that we must be satisfied that the investigation or the inquiry has been completely impartial.
We need to have a closure, there is no doubt about it. Mr. Phoolka, would you agree with Mr. Tulsi's suggestion that a Supreme Court monitored investigation needs to be done now? Otherwise it could also end up as all these commissions and committees have ended up like.
You see, I have been giving you example, in these 4 cases which are reopened, there was no court-monitored investigation, and out of those 4 cases, 3 have resulted where the charge sheet is filed, 1 has resulted in conviction.
Right.
The example is there before you resent.
So you think
the demand of Supreme Court monitor, High Court monitor, this is only to scuttle the process.
Okay, but so you think...
These are people do not want, they are holding the brief for some people.
Okay,
Because some of the Congress leaders will be definitely in the dock. Those people who are posing it, making all these excuses,
Mr. Phoolka,
this, that, they are only holding brief for these Congress leaders.
Mr. Phoolka, so when you're talking of an SIT, where will you get the officers for this SIT? Do you want this SIT a team to be from outside the Delhi police, or you don't mind having them from the Delhi police?
You see, the topmost 1 or 2 officers have to be from the outside Delhi police.
Okay.
And then they will choose their team. Also there are honest people, but the head is the one who is under the influence of these political leaders.
Okay.
That is the problem.
Mr. Phoolka.
If the head of
Mr. Phoolka.
SIT and 1 or top 2 or 3 people are honest, we will definitely find the results.
Okay.
As we have found in some other cases.
Okay, Mr. Marwa, last words to you. Do you think this kind of what Mr. Phoolka advocates, something like that, a SIT like that should be able to do its job, and come out with credible results?
No, absolutely. I mean, we need a team which will have credibility. and who will be the people who will be there? I exclude myself from that. It is possible to do that. Even in Delhi police, you have got
No, but the whole thing is you're talking, Mr. Phoolka is talking of some 200 and odd cases. How long will it take? That's the question.
No,
Otherwise,
if a professional job is done, it won't take very long.
Okay.
It won't take very long, and because, as I said, documentary evidence is available, which nails the police officer. The witnesses, not many witnesses are there, so their statements, some of them recorded, some of the statements can be redone. Some new witnesses come forward, they can be examined.
okay. We will, I think.
People like Mr. Jacob.
It's already recorded, a lot of things have already been recorded. Okay, on that note, we need to end. The fact is that this is something which inevitably also has political connotations, these kind of SITs and things like that. Nobody can deny that there is a political connotation to it, but if it is set up, how honestly will it be able to do its job, and what credibility will it come out with the investigations? We'll have to wait and watch. We'll wait and see what kind of SIT will be set up in the first place. Thanks to all my guests, Mr. KTS Tulsi, HS Phoolka, Ved Marwa and Satish Jacob. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue on Big Picture same time tomorrow.